Have you ever lost something important, not because of what you did, but because of what you said? One wrong word, one careless moment. That's all it takes to ruin trust, destroy opportunities, or fracture relationships you thought were unbreakable. Your voice can elevate you or expose you. Your words can open doors or slam them shut forever. So let me ask you, do you control your words, or do your words control you? Because in the eyes of the Stoics, a man who cannot master his speech is a man who has no power over his own mind. Today, I'm not here to teach you how to speak better. I'm here to help you embrace something far more powerful: silence. Deliberate, purposeful, powerful silence. Because true strength often lies not in the words we say, but in the ones we choose not to. As the Stoics believed, if you don't master your tongue, you don't master your life. In this video, I'll share 10 timeless Stoic principles that will show you how to stop sabotaging yourself with your own voice. These aren't just philosophical ideas, they are tools. Real, usable strategies to help you build calm, quiet confidence, earn respect, and gain control over the one weapon you always carry: your words, the power of silence. You'll discover why saying less can actually give you more strength, more influence, more inner peace. Because real power isn't in arguing louder. It's in choosing when not to argue at all. By the end of this video, you'll see why the final lesson is so powerful, it might permanently change the way you interact with people and with the world. The story of Lucas. But before we dive in, let me introduce you to someone whose life unraveled with just one sentence. His name was Lucas. From a young age, Lucas believed that words were power, that the right phrase, said at the right time, could win any room, charm any person, and open any door. And in a way, he was right. In high school, his sarcasm made him magnetic. In college, he always had the last word. By the time he was in his mid-20s, he had built a reputation: sharp, witty, outspoken. But what he never realized was this: the same words that built his path could also set it on fire. The moment everything fell apart. Lucas worked at a creative agency. He was clever, confident, spontaneous, the guy with a punchline for every situation. But one afternoon, during a high-stakes meeting with a mental health client, things changed. His team had poured weeks of effort into this campaign. The atmosphere was tense. Everyone was focused. The client was listening closely. And then Lucas made a joke. Not a hateful joke, just something offbeat, slightly ironic. The kind of thing you laugh at privately, but should never say publicly. Especially not in a room full of professionals discussing mental health awareness. The room fell silent. The kind of silence that feels like the air is pressing against your chest. A few awkward smiles, some eyes averted. The meeting ended early. The next morning, Lucas was called in. The client had pulled out. And just like that, the agency lost a major account. Why? Because of one impulsive line. 3 seconds of ego. 3 seconds of wanting to be clever. 3 seconds. That cost him everything. The aftermath. No one defended him. No one spoke up. In fact, some of his teammates looked at him like he was radioactive. That night, Lucas sat on his apartment floor, still in his work clothes, shoes on, phone silent. No calls, no messages, just the noise in his own head. For the first time, he wasn't talking, he wasn't performing, he wasn't joking. He was just silent. The mirror moment. At one point, he caught his own reflection in the hallway mirror and didn't recognize himself. Who was this man who kept ruining things? Who always had something to say, but never something worth hearing? And that's when something strange happened. His eyes fell on a book his sister had left on the coffee table. Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. He didn't pick it up to learn, he picked it up to escape. But then he read a line that hit him like a thunderclap. Think before you speak. Many times silence is the best answer. He read it again and again. It wasn't poetry. It was a mirror. It was as if a man from 2,000 years ago had written that line just for him. The shift begins. That night, something changed. Lucas didn't become silent forever. He didn't withdraw from the world. But he started observing something deeper, his impulses. He began listening more, watching conversations, noticing how often he used to speak just to avoid silence. He realized he wasn't communicating, he was reacting. He wasn't being clever, he was being careless. He started practicing restraint, holding his tongue, saying less but meaning more. Transformation through silence. Weeks passed. Slowly, the way people treated him changed. Not because he tried to talk his way back into their respect, but because he didn't try at all. He let his silence speak. And when he did speak, he chose his words with care. Today, Lucas is still himself. Still smart, still sharp. But he understands something now. That one sentence can build you or break you. And sometimes, the strongest statement you'll ever make is to say nothing at all. Let's continue where we left off with a truth that's hard to swallow. Your silence is sometimes the smartest thing about you. So, where do you begin if you want to speak less and live more wisely? First, when that sudden urge hits, the impulse to blurt something out, pause, just for 3 seconds. One breath, one pause. That space between your instinct and your action can save you from regret. It's a shield, a soft barrier that blocks the wave of emotion from turning into a storm of words you can't take back. Second, ask yourself, before you open your mouth, is what I'm about to say building something, or just an emotional release? If you're about to lash out, to throw words like someone throwing stones, don't. Wait until your emotions settle. Speak from clarity, not chaos. And third, have a lifeline ready. A neutral, calm sentence you can use to buy time without sounding dismissive. Something as simple as, let me think about it for a second. You'd be surprised how effective that is. It creates a graceful pause, a line between your reaction and your response. Because learning to control what you say isn't just about improving your vocabulary, it's about improving your life. Each moment of restraint, every word held back in the heat of emotion, is an invisible win. And it's these winsolent, unnoticed, that slowly build you into someone others trust, admire, and respect. So, here's a question. What if your most brilliant expression was your silence? Second, principle stop. Announcing your plans to everyone. Let me explain. There was a time I shared every new idea like it was breaking news. A new project, a new course, a new goal I told everyone. One day, filled with energy, I told a coworker I was planning to enroll in an advanced design course. It was a big step. Higher qualifications, better opportunities, real growth. I had done the research. I had the dates. I was ready. What I hoped for was encouragement, a little support, maybe even, "You've got this." But instead, he laughed. "You? Come on. You can barely handle your inbox. What are you gonna do with advanced design software?" The words hit me harder than I expected. I fell silent. And worse, I started to doubt myself. That doubt cost me the enrollment. I missed the deadline. Weeks later, I found out that same coworker took the course, quietly, finished it, applied for the same job I was aiming for and got it. It was the job I had discovered, the one that could have been me if I hadn't talked so much. That's when I stumbled on a quote from Marcus Aurelius that changed everything. The accomplishment is in the doing. not the showing off. While I was broadcasting, he was building. The truth is, real progress doesn't announce itself. It whispers in quiet action. And if you're serious about mastering your words, start here. Stop wasting them on things you haven't done yet. Keeping your goals private isn't about secrecy. It's about focus. It's about protecting your energy, your momentum, your clarity. Every time you talk about something before doing it, your brain thinks you've already made progress. You get a hit of dopamine reward for an action you haven't actually taken, and that can kill your drive. You've seen it before. The person who says, "Starting Monday, I'm hitting the gym," for 5 Mondays straight, and never does. Or the guy who's about to launch a business every year, but it never happens. Derek Sivers, an entrepreneur and author, nailed it. He said sharing goals prematurely gives your brain a fake sense of accomplishment, and that illusion drains your motivation. So try this instead. Write your goals in a private notebook. Keep them sacred. Let your actions speak. Or share only with those who will hold you accountable. People who won't just clap it, will challenge you. And when you do talk, change your language. Stop saying, "I'm going to," and start saying, "I'm working on." Or better yet, stay silent until it's done. Because like a rocket being prepped, real work happens in silence. Quiet calculations, steady focus, no applause. But when it launches, the world hears it. That's how your journey should be. Silent in preparation, loud in result. Because when you work in silencino, one can stop you. But when you speak too soon, anyone can beat you to it. Or worse, discourage you before you even begin. So, have you ever shared a goal only to watch someone dismiss it, mock it, or steal it? Share it in the comments. Your story might help someone protect theirs. Third principle, those who listen understand more. You've probably experienced this. You're opening up, talking about something personal, something that matters, and the person you're talking to isn't really listening. They nod, they glance, but they're just waiting for their turn to talk. And when you pause, they jump in with, "That reminds me of when I..." Suddenly, the spotlight shifts and you feel invisible. Truth is, we all do this. Because we've forgotten how to listen. But here's the irony. Listening actually makes you more powerful, more respected, more interesting. In a world where everyone's trying to speak louder, the one who listens quietly stands out. True listening is rare. That's why it's a superpower. Look people in the eye, put the phone down, be present, echo their words back, reflect. Like this. Someone says they feel overwhelmed and tired. Instead of offering advice right away, say, "Sounds like you're carrying a lot and don't have time to breathe." That simple reflection can break walls. It says, "I see you. I hear you." Spanish coach Eloy Lopez put it perfectly. People won't always remember what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. So, if you want to start controlling what you say, start by mastering how you listen. Because when you listen more, you understand more. And when you finally speak, your words carry weight. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." That's not poetry, it's strategy. The wise don't rush to speak. They wait, they absorb. And when they do speak, it matters. Fourth, don't speak when you're burning inside. Let's pick up where we left off with a lesson about emotional control that most people never learn until it's too late. Don't speak when you're burning inside. Now imagine this picture: a massive sealed barrel filled to the top with gasoline, pressure building inside, tight, heavy. Then someone nearby lights a tiny spark, not out of hatred, maybe even without realizing, but the spark is there. And the barrel? It's just waiting to explode. No, replace that barrel with your body. And the gasoline? It's everything you've been holding in. The irritation from work, the disappointment from yesterday, the frustration that's been simmering all day, the emotional fatigue you haven't named yet. That's the fuel. Then someone says something, it could be small, maybe even well-meaning, but it hits you wrong. You feel heat rising, and you want to fire back. Do you? If you do, the explosion is certain. And once those words are out, there's no rewinding, no erasing, no taking it back. Seneca put it perfectly. Anger is an acid that does more harm to the vessel in which it is stored than to anything on which it is poured. And it's true. When you speak from a place of uncontrolled emotion, you're not speaking from wisdom. You're speaking from pain. And while you might win the argument, what do you lose in the process? A relationship? Your peace of mind? Your credibility? Is that really worth it? Just because you couldn't wait 5 minutes? So what's the key? Spot that moment, that tipping point. When you're just about to lose it and choose not to react. Spanish educator Lico Woman said something that stuck with me. You are not yourself when you are upset. You are your emotion behind the wheel. That line hit home. Because think about it. How many times have we gone through life reacting from drama? Exploding first, apologizing later. One of her most shared exercises is surprisingly simple. When you're furious, write down what you want to say, but don't send it. Wait a few hours. When you read it back, 9 times out of 10 you'll realize it made no sense. It wasn't about truth. It was just about release. Trust me, I tried it. And honestly, I was embarrassed at what I wrote. It was angry, petty, scattered, and it didn't reflect who I am, just how I felt for a moment. You've likely had a moment like this. You're buried in deadlines, juggling tasks, trying to finish a report, when suddenly, your boss asks for more. Then a coworker comes up well-meaning and says, "You know, it's easier if you do it like this." And before you even realize it, you snap, "I don't need you to save me, okay? Just let me work." They walk away quietly. You stand there, heart racing, knowing it wasn't fair. They were just trying to help. Now, along with your stress, you're also carrying guilt. To avoid moments like that, try Lico Woman's method. If you're angry, open a note on your phone. Write down every emotion. Let it all out. But don't hit send. Don't act on it. Store it away. Lock it with a password if you have to. Come back to it when your head is clear. You'll likely read it and think, "That's not even me." While you wait, don't just sit still. Move. Leave the room, take a walk, splash cold water on your face, open a window, change your environment, break the moment. Sometimes, that's all it takes to cool the flame and let your logical mind come back online. And once the storm inside has passed, do something even more important. Ask yourself, why did I react that way? Was it really about that one comment? Or was it something deeper, a buildup of unresolved frustration? You see, most of the time, we're not reacting to the present. We're reacting to a pile of emotions we've been dragging around silently. If you don't pause to reset, you'll keep exploding in the wrong direction. Here's the truth. Controlling your words when you're calm is easy. But learning to stay silent when you're on fire inside, that's emotional mastery. That's peace. That's real growth. Because even if you put the fire out later, the ashes stay with others. Next, lesson 5. Not everyone deserves access to your vulnerable side. Let me ask you something. Have you ever shared something deeply personal during a casual chat without thinking, and later regretted it? It happens more often than you think. Some people treat every conversation like a reality show confessional. Within minutes, they're revealing family trauma, past heartbreak, emotional wounds. And then, they're shocked when someone betrays them or uses their vulnerability against them. They say, "I never saw it coming." But maybe the real question is, did they stop to ask whether that person was even capable of holding what they were sharing? You see, most of us don't share to be hurt. We share because we crave connection, relief, and understanding. But when you hand over your truth without filters, you risk putting it in the wrong hands. That's why you're here. Because you're starting to understand, not everything needs to be silenced, but everything needs to be filtered. Because silence, when it protects your peace, is not coldness, it's wisdom. Marcus Aurelius said it plainly, "Don't worry about what others think of you. Focus on what you think of yourself." You don't need to reveal your pain to validate your worth. You don't need an audience to prove your strength. Some of your greatest victories will be won alone in silence. And I tell you this from personal experience. I once opened up to someone I thought I trusted. We talked often, shared stories. One day, after a deep conversation, I confided in them. I struggled with food anxiety. That sometimes I couldn't stop eating even when I wasn't hungry. That it made me feel ashamed, guilty, out of control. They nodded, listened. I felt lighter, understood. But a few days later, at dinner with friends, I was eating more than usual, nervous about work. And that person laughed and said, "Hey, slow down. Looks like you can't stop today. What's going on? Having one of your food anxiety days?" Everyone laughed awkwardly. I froze. And inside I broke. Not because of the joke, but because I had handed them a piece of me, and they didn't treat it with care. That moment taught me something I'll never forget. And it's what I want you to remember too. You don't have to share everything to heal. You can write it out, reflect, cry in silence, or speak to someone trained to hold space. But not just anyone. Not someone who listens for entertainment. Not someone who hasn't proven they'll protect what you share. Because this isn't about staying silent from fear. It's about protecting your process. It's about growing. Without displaying every step to the world, let's carry forward. The message we've been building, real strength, often lies in what you choose not to say. And in moments of tension, when others erupt, your silence can be the most commanding presence in the room. Imagine this: a family discussion over vacation plans. One wants the beach, another insists on the mountains, yet another doesn't want to go at all. Emotions flare, voices rise, people interrupt, blame, and push their opinions like battering rams. And in the middle of this chaos, you remain silent. Not because you're passive, but because you know this isn't your battlefield. You observe, you breathe, you stay centered. And when it's over, you're the only one who hasn't said something you'll regret. The only one who doesn't have to apologize. The only one who commanded respect without ever raising your voice. That's the power of restraint. I remember listening to an interview with Jefferson Fisher. He shared something so profound I had to pause the recording and write it down. He was talking about those moments when someone throws a loaded question at you. Maybe it's an out-of-line comment. Maybe it's bait disguised as curiosity. And our instinct? It's to snap back, defend ourselves, respond instantly, like we're in a courtroom. But Fisher said, wait, pause, don't answer right away. Because when you go silent for even 3 seconds, it doesn't make you look uncertain. It makes you look powerful, calm, in control. Calm, power, 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 power. That moment of pause, it makes the other person uncomfortable, but it centers you. It's a power move, done quietly. So, how can you use this? Next time someone comes at you with words, don't fire back. Stay still. hold their gaze not with anger, but with presence. That pause alone breaks the rhythm. You're no longer playing by their rules. You're silently saying, "You won't pull me out of my center." Fisher expands on this brilliantly. He says that when someone throws a tough question or passive-aggressive jab at you, if you respond immediately, you often seem rattled, insecure, off balance. But if you pause, just for a beat, you send a signal. I think before I speak. I weigh my words. And that earns you instant respect. As Fisher puts it, sometimes the most powerful response is the silence before it. And if silence makes you restless, here's a simple trick. Wiggle your toes inside your shoes. Sounds silly, but it works. It's a tiny, invisible movement that helps release tension without anyone noticing. You stay grounded, composed, while calming your nerves physically. Another tool? Have a mental phrase ready. Something like, "I don't let anyone rush me." It's your anchor. A silent mantra. A reminder that you don't owe anyone a fast reaction. Because this isn't about pretending to be calm, it's about actually being calm. And here's the best part. Once you learn to control your silence, you begin to control your words. You no longer feel the need to react. You no longer need to have the last word. And when you do speak, your words carry real weight. They land deeper because they arrive without noise. Now, let's move to Principle 7. Your results matter more than your words. Everyone says they're going to change. That this year is it. That this time, it's for real. But then, January turns into March, and nothing changes. Same talk. No action. You know who stands out? The one who moves in silence and lets the results speak for themselves. Let me tell you about someone who lives this truth. Madison Richardson, a professional rock climber, one of the best. She trains even with broken nails. But one day, she decided something had to change if she wanted to reach the podium. So she deleted Instagram. Completely. No more posts, no more likes, no more outside validation. She walked away from the noise to train with tunnel vision, not to impress anyone, but to win for herself. And you know what happened? She came back. Stronger. Not only did she competition won. In an interview afterwards, she said, "By stopping the need to show my progress, I accelerated it." She had more energy, more focus, more drive. That's what silence gave her. And you don't have to be a rock climber to apply this. Maybe you've said, "I'm going to start that project. I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to change." And then nothing. You burn energy speaking instead of doing, seeking applause instead of progress. But when you don't follow through, your words float like deflated balloons. Talking is easy, but building? That's the real game. And when you go quiet, to build your respect rises. Not because you asked for it, but because you earned it. Marcus Aurelius had nothing to prove. And he said, "Stop talking about what a good man should be. Be one. Don't say you'll be strong. Be strong. Don't say you'll change. Change. Don't explain tomorrow's plan. Let the world see the outcome when it's done. Because speeches are forgotten, but actions leave a mark." Think about this. If Marcus Aurelius had Instagram, he wouldn't be posting his morning routine with fire emojis. He'd just wake up, train his mind, reflect, lead, and 1,000 years later, we'd still talk about him, without a single post. If you want to live like Thaddeus Howe, step 1, swap "I'm going to" for "I've already started." Talking about your goal tricks your brain. You get a little reward before doing anything, and that drains your drive. So, if you haven't started yet, keep it quiet. When you do, let your work speak. Step 2, Keep a private log. Track your progress, not for applause, but for clarity. Use a notebook or an app. Write what you did, how it felt, where you grew. That gives you momentum without needing validation. Because real growth isn't measured in likes, it's measured in consistency. And finally, when you feel that urge to announce something, pause. Ask, why am I sharing this? Is it for motivation? Or is it for approval? If it's the second, wait. Let your results do the talking. My friend, I'm not saying disappear. I'm saying become so grounded, so focused, so disciplined that you never have to explain yourself. One day, your actions will speak so loudly, people will say, I didn't see that coming. Because that's how you earn respect, not with promises, but with proof. So if no one's clapping for you yet, don't worry. The echo of your results will be louder than 1,000 promises. And when that day comes, you'll never need to justify yourself again, because you'll have learned to control what you say and let what you do speak for you. Let's continue from the clarity we just uncovered about how your results speak louder than words. And now, we need to tackle one of the biggest ways we lose power: through constant complaining and people pleasing. Because here's the truth. Complaining won't save you. It may feel like release, but it's actually resistance in disguise. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you interpret it." What saves you isn't repeating the problem, it's transforming thought into movement. And that transformation begins the moment you stop narrating your struggle and start walking your solution. So, let me ask you directly. Is there a complaint you say way too often? Something you know doesn't help you, but you still repeat it like a soundtrack on loop? Write it down. Put it in the comments like you're dropping it here, once and for all. Sometimes, the first step toward letting something go is putting it into words. It might help someone else, and at the very least, it'll set you a little freer. Now let's talk about Principle 9. Why do you say yes when you really want to say no? This one's personal, because we've all been there. Saying no feels hard. It feels cold. It feels selfish. But listen carefully. Every time you say yes, just to avoid letting someone down, you're saying no to your time, your energy, and your peace. Maybe the other person won't even notice, but you will, because you'll feel the quiet sting of self-betrayal. Picture this. You're exhausted at work, fantasizing about getting home and finally unplugging. Just before you leave, a coworker walks over and says, "Hey, can you help me finish this report?" You know it's not your responsibility. You've already finished your part. But somehow, almost automatically, you say, "Yeah, sure." What do you need? Why? Because you don't want to seem rude. Because you think they'll judge you. So you stay another hour. You work half-heartedly. You leave feeling drained. And no one even thanks you. And the worst part? It's not the lost hour, it's that you're angry at yourself. Because you knew what you wanted. And you didn't protect it. Believe it or not, this happens to everyone. Even the most successful. Rafael Nadal, the tennis legend, said in interviews that one of the hardest lessons he had to learn was how to say no. For years, he said yes to everything. Commitments, appearances, interview 7 when he was mentally and physically spent. Until one day, he realized if he didn't guard his energy, no one else would. So he started saying no, politely, respectfully, but firmly. Because boundaries don't make you selfish, they make you strong. Learning to say no is a vital part of controlling what you say. It's not about becoming cold, it's about becoming clear. Clear about what matters to you, clear about what you can give, and clear about when to protect your space. If your yes doesn't come from your heart, it's not generosity. It's just guilt wearing a smile. So how do you start? Begin with one powerful phrase. Let me think about it and I'll get back to you. This buys you time. It pauses the impulse. It gives you room to consult yourself before giving away your time. Then, practice short, clear answers. You don't need a speech. Just say, "That doesn't work for me today. I can't help right now. Sorry, I have other priorities." It sounds easy, but it's not. That's why this trick helps. Imagine Seneca in a modern office meeting. Someone asks, "Can you stay late to finish this project?" He sits calmly and says, "Number, I need to meditate on the fleeting nature of time." Okay, maybe don't say that exactly. But having a Stoic in your mind cool, centered, clear helps you remember what matters. Your peace. Here's another tip. Before you say yes, visualize yourself doing the task. Do you feel peaceful or resentful? Your body knows. If your shoulders tense and your jaw tightens, it's a no, even if your mouth hasn't caught up yet. Sometimes, the discomfort of saying no lasts 5 minutes. But the discomfort of saying yes lasts the entire day. Marcus Aurelius said it simply, "Do what your nature requires of you, and don't be distracted by anything else." You know what that anything else often is? The yes you said out of fear, when what you really needed was to protect your space. Because learning to control what you say isn't just about silence. It's about courage. The courage to speak your truth, even when it makes others uncomfortable. And that brings us to our final point. A truth most people avoid. There are words you never need to say. Because when you say them, you trap yourself. But when you withhold them, you free yourself. That silence, my friend, it might be the start of something much bigger. So if this video speaks to something inside you, if you've ever regretted the words you let fly, or the opportunities you ruined with a stray comment, take this as your moment. Hit subscribe, become a part of our Stoic community, and let us know in the comments, what words will you start keeping to yourself from today on? Or just write, "I'm a Stoic. I choose silence that builds." Because the next time you feel the urge to speak, ask yourself, do I really need to say this?